Well, good evening everyone, and it sure looks as though it's go time for Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix qualifying. Okay, thankfully the mic is working. And last week we were at Las Vegas with a bit of a bigger grid, from what I remember. It's actually a way smaller grid than we've had for the first two rounds, which I don't know why it is. It might just be a coincidence. I saw that a few people just had work rotations that didn't allow them to make it here. But last week we were at Las Vegas, where Engine took the win. Tongo Prof finished second, and like 15 seconds behind him it was Alex Hendricks taking his first FLR podium. It's just his second race with us. In terms of the championship, we have Tongo Prof leading the way with 44 points. He's had two P2s, followed by Engine, who is 4 points behind. Then we got Rapid and Puko tied for P3 on 34 points. Puko not here tonight due to uni commitments. Then we got Alex Hendricks, who is only 1 point behind them, and then that rounds off the top 5 in the drivers. Then we got Ian, who is trying his best to make it to this race, and Alex Hendricks has disconnected. I will try to immediately invite him back. So Ian is trying his best to make it to this race. He is in P6 in the drivers with 26 points, followed by Josh, Chichi, Ice One, and Panda. That's your top 10 in the drivers. In terms of the constructors, we have got Kick Sauber leading the way on 66 points. That is 2 points ahead of McLaren. And then we got Racing Bulls, Mercedes, and Williams rounding off the top 5. Looks a little bit cloudy out there, because the season still is in its early days. This is only round 3 of 12, so it's still all to play for. I think Rapid, Engine, and Tom all looking like strong contenders for this title. I would argue that Puko is also there. He just needs to not miss any more races, and Alex Hendricks is probably a dark horse for the championship at this point, but he is looking quite consistent. He's looking quite consistent when he's able to stay in the lobby, which was what he did the last 2 weeks, but it doesn't seem like he's able to do it this week. Anyway, last week was quite an exciting race. Well, there were long, boring periods. Hello, mate. Welcome to the stream. There were a few boring periods when there were only battles in one spot on the track, but because there was a changeable conditions qualifying last week, we saw some people qualify high up the order who usually don't have the opportunity to do that, and they actually kept track position and achieved good results. Those people included Ice One and Rusty Olkan, and probably someone else that I forgot. In terms of grid changes, we got Who Am I in the Haas, who is making his debut here tonight, and we got the return of Ralphie, who I can't quite pull the stats of his stats out of my head, but this might be his first race with us on this game, or his first in a few months anyway. Either way, welcome back, Ralphie. He will be taking the Red Bull as a reserve for this evening. We got Chichi already completing a lap, which I think he was also the first person to do last week. So Chichi immediately gets supplanted by Unknown Pro, 15.8 for the Aston Martin, the reserve of Nimra with a 17.6. Engine shooting to the top, 1.4 seconds ahead. So he is flexing his muscles. Because we also raced Imola last season, and what happened there is that Tom took quite a dominant win. Which is actually his only win on F125 in FLR so far, but it was quite a dominant win. He had a little bit of a fight with Seb, who is no longer in the league, but other than that, it was a dominant weekend for Tom. Obviously Engine, who is like on the same level as Tom, and they're both about the fastest drivers in the league full time. Engine obviously missed Imola that time around, he was away for some other commitments, so we don't actually know his pace. I mean, we are getting a really good sample of it just from that first bunker run that he's done, but we don't actually know how his race pace will stack up against Tom. So that will be interesting to see. And of course, since that race, it's been what, almost 2 months, 1.5 months, something like that. Yeah, almost 2 months. So obviously, setups may have changed. Some people could have practiced more, and it's not as obvious if Tom will be able to dominate again. We also got Ben in P2 with a 15.7. Obviously, Ben pitting and quitting last week. I think he was having some sound issues or something like that. We're just gonna go around for a lap with Josh. He is currently coming out of the Tosa corner and coming up to the high-speed sequence. This is turn 9 Piratella, very easy to invalidate there on the exit, but he wasn't even close. He wasn't even close to the outside curb on that occasion, so no threat of going over the wide line there. He's looking to be quite conservative on this lap, which sometimes is just what you want to do on a bunker. Now coming up to the Variante outer chicane, takes the first curb nicely, misses the second one. The rear looking a little bit lively on that orange McLaren. As he makes his run now towards the final sequence of corners, the Rivasa sequence. A little bit closer to the white lines this time around, although once again just shying away from it in the last bend. And it's gonna be P7 of 9 times so far. Rapid is now just starting his lap, and surely he will be looking to track close to engine, or that would be his dream. And well, his dream would be to obviously be on pole and way ahead of engine, but that's not gonna happen on this lap because he has just invalidated in probably the easiest section of the track to invalidate. We also got the other championship contender, Tom Gofrov, out on track right now, and he has managed to make it through that section without invalidating. He is of course approaching his teammate, who, as we just saw, has finished his lap, so he will be looking to get out of the way. Possibly. We got Who Am I with 14.1. So he is making his mark as someone who can probably run with the engine Tom Rapid group of guys at the front of the field. Anyway, we just saw Tom navigate the Variante out of chicane. Now he heads towards Rivasa. That battery is almost depleted, but he's keeping just a little bit of charge in it for the run to the line, taking those curves way more aggressively than his teammate did. And that battery is going to be completely depleted as he goes to the line. Is a 14.6, so just falling short of the expectations there. I didn't really see any mistakes on that lap, any major ones, but then again, I wasn't with him in sector 1. Someone else has just put in a time. Rapid is going again, I believe, if he has the fuel. And I think he is going for it. That's a purple first sector, but I don't really believe that. The game is often quite weird with that. As he exits Tosa, now he heads towards turn 9. Just a little dab of the brakes, aiming for the inside curb. He launches the car over that inside curb, didn't really take the outside that much. Now, through this sequence is just really fun when you get to the right, and really, really terrible when you get the wrong. Purple second sector as well, taking the Variante outer chicane nicely, sending it over both the curves and keeping within the wide lines. He has a little bit more charge remaining than Tom at this point of the lap, but it's not really gonna matter because you can't use it while you are navigating through these corners. Final exit, and as Rapid makes for the line, it's gonna be in the 14s. It's not even gonna be in the 14s. It's gonna be a 15.026. I was about to say it was gonna be in the 14s, but he just about missed out on that mark. So either he really drops off in the third sector, or more likely these purple sectors were just fake. Alex Hendricks currently sitting P5 with 15.4. Hopefully no more connection problems for him this week. Ralphie has now put himself on the board with a 17.4. So that is everyone setting at least one valid time. Yeah, there's clearly something going on with the sectors. Now Chichi is gone. I don't think I have him as a friend. There is something going on with Rusty. Not with Rusty, what am I yapping about? There's something going on with the sectors, because everyone is purple in Sector 1 apparently. Do I even have Chichi? I mean, what is going on with the disconnections? Like, it's both last week and this week. Do I even have Chichi as a friend? I don't think I have. I mean, unless he's called something else, I don't think I have him. Unless he's that guy, then I don't think I have Chichi. Oh, he's managed to rejoin anyway. It's fine. Rasi has just improved by half a second. I was on board with him, but not really, because I was looking for Chichi. Alex Hendricks also on a lap and tracking to improve. As you can see, he's a little bit conservative with the Variante Alta curbs than the front runners. He took a little bit more of that exit curb on the right hand side though. He heads into Rivazza, and that is too much of a cut, and that lap is gonna be thrown out by the stewards, and that's gonna be that run in the bin for him. Engine is just finishing his second lap now, and let's see if he can respond to the benchmark that Who Am I has put up. Engine to the line, and it's gonna be the new fastest lap with 1:13.945. The first man into the 13th is Engine. Who Am I is now starting his lap. He was on provisional pole before, so we're just gonna stick on board with him and see what he manages on this lap using the battery down the front straight as he approaches the Variante Tamburello complex. Sending over both of the curves. Car was just a little bit loose, but he kept it, no big deal there. As he now heads into the Variante Villeneuve. Good usage of the curves there. That one could have been cut a little bit more, but alas, it's not the final run, so you don't have to give it everything just yet. And there is major traffic coming up, but that kick is gonna pull out of the way. I think that was Engine. The Ferrari actually very nice in getting out of the way there, completely going into the gravel. No major mistakes on this lap so far. Just a few places where it kind of could have been sent more, but then again, it's completely fine as it is. He's nearly 3 tenths up, taking the Variante Alta curbs nicely. It looks like the car is very stable, apart from that little wiggle in Sector 1. The car doesn't seem to have any problems. Going more aggressive than anyone else we've seen so far at the first part of Rivazza. Battery is going to be nearly depleted. The half goes to the lines of 13.6. And that's a major statement. Engine, Tom and Rapid are going to be looking towards that. Tom is not currently improving, and might I just say at this point, we might have a new contender, a new championship contender. It's only been 2 races, and people usually miss races. So I think even with being 2 races down, I think if Who Am I keeps this up in future appearances, he can climb and challenge these guys. Anyway, let's see what the McLaren team leader manages on his second time of asking. It's a 13.8 from Tom. That was a massive improvement actually, especially in that last sector, because he was only 2.5 tenths and a bit up in Sector 2. So a massive improvement from Sector 3 from Tom. He gets just that a little bit closer to Who Am I, but then again, the track was slightly better when he did that run. Now you can see everyone is resorting into the pits to prepare for the final round. Panda is not on the lap. Is there a single person on the lap? There is not actually a single person on a lap. Someone was exiting though. I think Rusty is gonna be the first person to make their final flying lap. Welsh Benjamin is heading out as well. Unknown Pro out on track now as well, along with Rusty. So it looks like the midfielders are being the first guys to pull the trigger and prepare for the final rounds of qualifying. It's currently Rusty leading the way. We were already on board with him earlier. Of course, Rusty, I gave him my Driver of the Day award last week for a good drive at the team's home race in Las Vegas. So hopefully he can follow that high up with another good performance. Keeping in 5th gear through Variante Tamburello. Using overtake, sending it through Variante Vilnius, a little bit hesitant on that second part of the chicane, and that's cost him his 10.5 down currently. Out of Toza, another press of the overtake button. The skies look just as cloudy as they were when we started this session, but it doesn't look like there's gonna be any precipitation. Oh my days. That's gonna affect the drivers in the session. Minor improvement, the slightest of improvement for Rossi as he approaches the Variante Alta. That was 11 thousandths of an improvement. Now on the button. And turning off the button, actually, I think he could have used a little bit more, but then again, everyone has their own preferences with how they go about dumping their battery. Out of the last corner, he's now gonna take the shortest run possible to the line, hugging the right side of the track, and it's up to P6 for Rusty. So it looks like he is indeed following last week up with another good performance thus far. We had Unknown Pro, who was the next person on the lap. Ben has invalidated, so unfortunately that will be it for him unless he has fuel and tires to go for another run. Unknown Pro is now in the second part of Rivasa, in the final part of the circuit. He almost actually hit the bollard on the pit lane entry there, and that is 4.5 tenths of improvement. That vaults him up to P5 at 15.3, so a nice show of pace there from Mr. Unknown Pro. His teammate Alphon just starting his final lap. And Ben, I think he's recharged, and I think he's gonna go for another stop at this thing. After that, we've got Engine on his out lap. Time is ticking down, less than 60 seconds left. This is it. He has to put it all on the table now if he wants to improve on his current starting position. So here is the mean green machine, the kick Sauber going down the front straight into the Variante Tamburello. He's gonna brake at about 60 meters, I think. Using 4th gear there, taking all the curves, just not kissing that outside one as much. Into Variante Vilnius. He's sending it. Nicely staying within the white lines there, but he is down on his previous time, so clearly not committing as much as he did before. Out of Toza, just a little bit sloppy. It wasn't really slidey or anything, but he just didn't seem to fully grip up the rear of the car. Now coming through Aqua Minerale. Sorry, actually that corner doesn't have a name. This is Aqua Minerale here, and he's invalidated. He's invalidated. It's gonna be no more than P3 for Engine. Right behind him, he has the current pole sitter, Who Am I, also our debutant here tonight, who is 38 thousandths up on his time. Coming to the Variante Alta, taking out the curve nicely. The rear just wants to step out, but he keeps the lap valid, and it just depends on how he will tackle this Rivasa sequence. Very close to the white line there, but staying nicely within track limits. I think this is going to be an improvement. It's not going to be a huge one, but it is going to be an improvement. It's a 13.4 from Who Am I. Will anyone be able to beat that? Tom GoPro getting a little bit of a tow from a Williams, but he's clearly not going to be improved because he just slung his car across the track. I think he was not happy with the dirty air from the car ahead. Alex Hendricks up to P5. Keeping up his consistent form that we've seen from him so far. Panda has invalidated. Ben has finished his lap as well, and Ralphie is not going to do anything either. This is it for qualifying. Tongo Prof and Engine not managing to improve on their last runs. In the case of Engine, he just invalidated on his own. In the case of Tom, he might have just caught a slower car and been slowed down. I did say that he was getting a little bit of a slipstream at the end of the lap. But if he was getting that, then that means that he also got dirty air through the reversa sequence, and that would have just completely wrecked his chances. Rapid, I wasn't really on him for his last run, but he didn't manage to make any impact either. So it's the first time driver who am I on pole for the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, because the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix actually not on the real life calendar anymore this year. But then again, the new season is only gonna be a DLC. So I think we might see this track in game for another year after it's gone from real life. So it's who am I on pole by 3 and a bit tenths with a 13.496 from Tongo Pro, from Engine, from Rapid. Alex Hendricks running on the top 5. I'm gonna get the full rundown once we embark on the formation lap. Quite a few invalidations. It's just the nature of this track, really. Unfortunately, I don't think Ian is gonna make it, because that was his last chance there. I don't think the game is good. I mean, I definitely know for a fact that the game is not gonna let someone join the grid now. So we're just gonna sit here and look at the crowd. Look at the crowd, who are ready to see the race just as we are. Yeah, that is unfortunate, but we were doing everything in our power to delay it, and we are just going to the formation lap. So, as you can see, the debutant Who Am I took pole ahead of the two former champions, and we're just gonna see what strategies our guys are going for when I get there. And it's actually not very interesting. It's only one person on hards, and that is Barnard's in P13. But we're just gonna go through our grid. We got Ralphie making his return to our grid. Back in P15, we got Ice One, who had a very nice drive last week in P14. Then we got Barnes in P13. We got Nimra P12, who was actually a reserve, but he's attended every race thus far, which is more than some of our full-time drivers, so a little shout out to him. Panda in P11, sporting a very nice helmet for the team's home race. Josh in P10, Chichi in P9, Rusty in P8, looking to go for consecutive top 10 finishes. Ben in P7, hopefully better luck for him than last week. Unknown Pro in P6, I think with his best quality of the season so far. Alex Hendrick in P5, also his best quality of the season so far. In both of the races thus far, he had to come back to the field. Rapid in P4, Andrin in P3, Tongo Prof, who is the most recent Imola winner in FLR, in P2. And he's actually not won at any other tracks on this game. And then we got Who Am I on pole position, who briefly looked to be baiting his rivals with selecting the hards, but he changed back to the mediums. In terms of strategy here, one stop is the default, but Tom did very nicely with a two stop last season, because the pit lane is long, so you're kind of angling towards a one stop, but the tires just wear so much, and there are enough laps that you can make a two stop work. You just need raw pace and some bold overtaking to go with that. Who Am I is angling towards the right, just trying to immediately block off Tom. The lights are on. The lights are gonna be going out anytime now, and we are on the way. Is Who Am I from pole position, who maintains the lead. Actually, Tom was trying his best to challenge him, but he's just not gonna be able to be alongside. Or actually, as I was saying that, he is alongside, he was alongside, but now Who Am I just establishing his hold on the lead. And the top four remain unchanged. Further back, we've had Rusty All can actually make up 3 places from P8 to P5, so that is a very nice start for the house driver. There were some incidents further behind. We saw an Aston Martin, that being Unknown Pro, who skipped across the gravel at Variante Tamburello. So we're just gonna quickly have a look at position changes, and indeed Unknown Pro, the biggest loser, with 6 positions lost. The top 4, the only people except for Iceland who remained as they were, Rassi and Chichi both making up 3 places. Alex Hendricks 2 places down, which is the first time this season that he's lost places on the first lap. Actually, he gained like a humongous amount of positions on the first lap last week. I think he gained something like 9 places on lap 1. So the fortune is not repeating for him this week. And Barnard's also a nice start, 3 places up. Just go to gap to interval for now. We're just gonna sit on board with Tongo Prof, who has finished only in P2 this season. And that is also the position where he currently runs. As we have a battle further down, we got Alex Hendricks challenging on the inside of Chichi. A little bit of contact as they head towards Variante Villeneuve, and Alex Hendricks thinking the better of it and just pulling out of the move that he was attempting to make. Tongo Prof is sticking as close to Who Am I as he possibly can. Of course, the dirty air is not working in his favor through this technical section. We got a battle further behind as well, but it seems to have disappeared as soon as I went there. Tom actually doing a nice job to stay that close in the dirty air to the Variante chicane, and Who Am I has depleted his battery just a little bit more, so There's a prime opportunity for Tom Koprov to go on the attack, using the DRS, using the slipstream, the little bit of slipstream that exists on this game, that is. Tom Koprov gaining with DRS is gonna be an easy move. Who Am I is not gonna be able to fight it into the braking zone, and the McLaren shoots ahead into the lead. Alex Hendrick not able to make that move. Actually, Rusty made a little bit of an error there, and I think that could invite Chichi to go for a move, but he's just not gonna be close enough. We got Panda losing places, and he's had a huge lockup. He's gone off into the gravel, and Nimra has an even bigger moment at that exact same location, and he now falls down to last. There are quite a few people with lively cars, as you saw. Ice One losing the rear end. Unfortunately, Ralphie just could not react in time to avoid that. Engine gets a 3-second time penalty already, so unfortunately, it looks like the Common jinxed him there. And I don't know what I'm watching like right now. It's like the roller skating or something. Both Ison and Nimra. It's actually like, I don't know how it is in the UK and other parts of Europe, but basically in my city we've kind of have had like very icy roads and sidewalks for the last 2 or 3 days, and basically how much they were sliding kind of reminded me of how people walk when sidewalks are that icy. They were just losing the cars everywhere, but it seems like they've gathered that back up, and now actually S1 is going to go for the move around the outside of Nimra for P13, and they've touched again. So these guys having a turbulent start to the race at best. Hopefully they will have. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that would make sense. You are surrounded by sea, so that would make sense that the snow and ice is not really getting through, and it's just water instead. So these guys having a turbulent start to the race at best. As I was beginning to say, hopefully they remain in high spirits and have the motivation to carry on and continue. Obviously only 15 cars here today, so a little bit more points on offer than you would usually get for last place. In the meantime, while we were watching the backmarker land, unfortunately Nimra has spun again, so that car is really unstable. I don't know if he's picked up additional damage as well. Tongo Prof, while he did not manage to improve on his final lap of qualifying, he is looking very, very pacey in the race thus far. He had managed to break the DRS on Who Am I, who is attempting to come back. And obviously they've already gapped Engine, who also has a 3-second time penalty to boot. So it looks like Tom is in a prime position to extend his championship lead coming out of this one. I don't know what that cam was. There were like no cars for a solid 4 seconds there. But it looked like a possible warning. But maybe just a little blip in concentration for the 2-time champion. Who Am I has managed to claw back into the DRS range, but Tom just holds that little bit more battery. It doesn't look like Who Am I is under any huge pressure though. The car looks balanced. He might just be saving tires and looking to come back later on, but he is, regardless of what the situation with the tires and his driving is, he is not gonna get DRS this time around, and that's just gonna give Tom a little bit more margin. We've got Rapid on the back of Engine, but Engine has more battery, so Rapid only just about hanging onto the back of him and just not able to master up any attack. We got Unknown Pro mastering up an attack on Ben, and he's gonna go round around his outside into the first part of the Variante Tamburello, and he's ahead. Ben also having to recollect the car after he got in the dirty air of Unknown Pro, and Unknown Pro is climbing back. He lost 5 or 6 places on that opening lap by taking that trip across the gravel, and now he's only 1 down from his starting position. We are having an incident further down. Panda basically kissing the left rear tire of Josh there. and he remains behind him. Barnard's making good progress thus far on those hards. Obviously, in terms of hard runners, he's now been joined by Nimra, who has made his first stop. So I think Nimra either did have damage, or his tires were just worn out after losing control and being involved in a spin with Ice 1. Obviously, worn tires is also a form of damage, but you know what I mean. We got Unknown Pro making yet another move. This time he's gonna make it on Rusty, and he's gonna say bye-bye to that Haas. And Unknown Pro back in the position he started in originally. Unknown Pro, I think, he was having a good fight back, and then immediately after making up that position he's lost it. I don't know why he's not coming back onto the track. I mean, it appears like the road is clear. I think he just wasted a little bit of time by staying off track there. We're just gonna have to check if there is any damage. And I believe the left end plate is missing there. So that's unfortunate. It wasn't really a heavy impact. I think I thought that he could have got away with that, but unfortunately he did not. And that fightback went to waste. We see Ben trailing Rusty. Obviously Rusty losing one of his challengers with the spin from Unknown Pro, but he's got another one on his tail in the form of Welsh Benjamin. As I head to the first part of Rivasa, Ben will be getting the DRS. Let's just check the battery levels. Rusty is a little bit ahead in that department, but Ben is gonna have DRS. He's gonna have a little bit of slipstream as well. He's not using DRS though. Rusty did use a little bit. Obviously neither of them have a lot of battery, and Ben just not able to challenge on this occasion. He got very close. Rusty clipping grass. Rusty clipped grass mid-corner there. We've got a little bit of a squabble here. Chichi, who was one of the beneficiaries of the first lap scramble, he is falling back. Panda is not handling the dirt here nicely. Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, I already gave him driver of the day last week after he got a good position in the changing weather quali and basically kept it. And he might be setting himself up for consecutive driver of the days from me if he keeps this one up. Obviously Unknown Pro was another strong contender for that one until he made that mistake. We got Josh taking those curbs very aggressively. I think that could have been a warning there, if not two even. And he's under pressure from Chichi. Relatively under pressure, of course. Josh, as we know him, he does have a lot of ERS. Rapid also makes a move on engine for provisionally for the final podium position. Chichi is gonna use the battery. Josh is not gonna use his battery, so he's gonna save up even more battery. And Chichi is below 10%, which means he's gonna be losing engine power as they now come up towards Variante Tamburello. They're gonna be side by side, but Josh is gonna back out of that. Chichi having a little bit of a rough ride over the curb. I think he clipped a little bit of sand there as well. Josh is gonna pull out to his inside to try and attack back, but it's gonna be no use, and the Visa is ahead. And that's the Visa winning that battle for P9. We're now gonna go on board with the Red Bull, back on board with the Red Bull of Welsh Benjamin. Obviously we were with him quite recently. Engine picking up another penalty. He's one of only two people who have got penalties, and he's got 6 seconds already. And obviously he was looking at fighting Rapid and those lot for the podium, and now he's just gonna be forced to look behind and just calculate how much of a gap he can pull out on the cars behind to retain his position. George is Gaming now adding himself to the list of drivers with pens. Obviously we saw Josh climb those curbs at Variante Alta very aggressively. I did say that he might have been getting warnings there. And now Rusty, I think he is out of deployment, or sorry, out of charge. And both drivers trying to be very nice to each other. They still made contact. I don't think it was really avoidable there. They both gave each other a lot of space, quite frankly. they kind of just converged as they went through the corner, and unfortunately Rusty picks up a penalty, and Ben loses a position to Barnes for P7. So both drivers actually coming out quite a bit worse off than they were from the little scramble of theirs. And yeah, I mean, Engine, obviously this is the first time we've seen on this game Engine tackle Imola, because he was absent the last time we raced here last season. And he doesn't seem to like this track, does he? I mean, he was up there towards the sharp end in quali, as he usually is, and no disconnections for him in quali, so that would have been building his confidence, but now he's just 7 seconds behind P2, and he's got the most penalties out of anyone, and it looks like Rapid is outpacing him. Having said that though, Engine is going to be able to come back with DRS, he's going to go to the outside, and Rapid is not going to be able to keep up the fight in the braking zone. Engine back into P3 on track. Obviously he is 6 seconds down in reality, and I think he might have just picked up another warning at the exit there of Variante Tamburello. We are now approaching the first round of pit stops. Some people already making pit stops, and I think Josh and Rusty, there is a chance they're going for a 2-stop. We have a yellow there, which I don't believe is a spin. I think it's just someone going slowly. Rusty obviously in the pits right now. He's now coming out of them, quite a bit ahead of Josh. I think that is Niemra having some kind of issue once again. His tires are fully covered in gravel. That car would be very, very hard to steer right now. He seems to be going straight once again, but he's just a long way off the back of Iceman now, and that was either a lockup or just a huge oversteer moment on the entry. His tires are now in gravel again. Tom is pitting, and for Tom, that pit is as he completed lap 10, I believe. Sorry, as he completed lap 11, so it might still be a 2-stop for Tom. Obviously, we saw Tom. I'm just looking at Nimra. I don't know. I don't know if he's making those inputs on purpose, or his car is just really oversteery, or if he has some kind of rear wing damage or something. That looked like a very rough spin, and we've already seen him go off twice on that lap. So I'm just having a look. Something doesn't seem quite right, does it? That looks like luck more than oversteer, but everything else just looks like oversteer. Maybe some miscalculated inputs, but yeah, keeping like reporting back on the strategy battle. I think Tom and Nimra has just gone off again. I didn't see anything on the brake trace indicating a lockup. I don't know what he's doing. He has visited every runoff on this track, and we just saw two cars go half spinning on the pit lane entry. That would have been Engine and Rapid. I think they were either trying to outrace each other into the pits, or their cars got distracted by Nimra, or they were getting taken over by AI for the pits. Hard to say what was really the cause there. Either way, the situation right now is that Tom has built a massive net lead over Who Am I. It just remains to be seen who can go to the end in this situation, because they've made some really early pit stops, in my opinion at least. Obviously, I don't think I've said this thus far on the stream, but Imola uses the softest tire compounds available in the game, which are C4, C5, C6. So the medium would be the C5 tire, and that is a very, very easily degradable tire, which is why the 2-stop even works here, in theory anyway. We'll see what Alex Hendricks' plan is for this race, and he's gonna pile in now. I think this is within the window for a 1-stop. Should be. He's done 13 laps on mediums, and he's gonna do He's gonna do 19 on hards. That should be achievable. Welsh Benjamin, the final person, along with Panda, to still be out on their starting mediums. Niemra has left, so thankfully he didn't affect the session of any other drivers. Panda actually pits this lap, so Ben is the final person standing on the starting mediums. I actually skipped that Chichi was also still on his starting mediums. Who am I scrambling a little bit over that inside curb? It could have been a warning, but it might have been not. You never really know it, at Imola. It's a circuit of really fine margins. So we're gonna go to gap to the leader to see how the playing field is right now. Basically, Tom can do a two-stop, and as we see, who am I making a move on Welsh Benjamin, and that is rather comfortable, not really any contest there from the 13 lap old mediums. Basically, Tom can two-stop and easily beat everyone except who am I, and I think he's got the pace in him to even beat who am I if he makes another stop. He might not though. Who am I is only what? His tires are only one lap fresher than Tom's. I think they're both one stopping, but it remains to be seen. Ben peels off into the pits, so that is 14 laps in the books for him on the mediums. The furthest anyone has gone on the C5 compound, and onto the hard C4s he goes. And that should be everyone in their positions. Barnes is definitely on the one stop. He's on fresh mediums, so obviously he knew that he wasn't taking those hards far enough for a one stop, and he's on a two stop. Just gonna go back. So Tongo Prof currently having a very dominant fastest lap there, just as a side note. Unknown Pro, you would also think he's on a two stop after that early mistake, but he has shown that he has pace. He has both quali and race pace. So it just remains to be seen how he makes this two-stop work. Actually, this battle are the only cars who are in each other's DRS right now. Alex Hendricks, by stopping a lap earlier, has managed to jump both of these championship contenders. And now it remains to be seen how they will deal with him. See, Engine has kind of managed to mitigate his penalty. If only by falling backwards, because he was already P5 in reality. Now he's also P5 on track, and he has a safe bridge to Rusty. We see if Rapin can make the move on the Merc. And Rapin just thinks better of it. The distance is just not closing fast enough, and he's not going to be able to make this pass on this occasion. Alex Hendricks remains in P3 for now. Everyone remains as they were. They were briefly the only cars in DRS, but we might have another DRS tandem on our hands. We got Barnes on the fresher mediums catching up to Rusty. Obviously these two on different strategies, so I don't think Rusty's gonna put up much of a contest. As they go through Variante Villeneuve into Toza. Barnes fully on the brake there. Rusty using more exit curb. Barnes' tires are gonna be at their best now, so he has to go and make this move while he can. While he is able to. Through Aqua Minerale, that very, very unique corner sequence, not really seen anywhere else. He's gonna almost actually kiss Rusty's left rear as they go through Variante Alta, and that actually getting that close to him actually resulted in him losing ground. We just quickly have a look at these guys. It doesn't seem like any new developments there, so we're gonna go back to this duo. The Ferrari obviously, both the Ferraris trying their best to shine in the home race. They're not running that high up, but Barnes is surely giving the home fans a little bit of a spectacle with a nice, neat pass on Rusty down the home stretch. He's up to P6, and he's gonna look to immediately break the DRS and make a run for it in preparation to obviously make his second stop. Also in terms of the DRS battle, we have a new one here. Who Am I now picks up a 3-second time penalty, so that is yet another factor in the battle of the win that is tipping the scale in favor of Tom. Because another DRS battle all on hands. The penalties are now starting to rain a little bit harder. Well, Benjamin with 7 lap tire advantage here. Obviously, Ben managed to get an offset on everyone else by just going that much longer on those starting mediums. And he should be able to make easy work of Unknown Pro as long as he manages to stay nice and close to his diffuser. Unknown Pro also having just the slightest bit of oversteer in that corner. Out of the last corner, Ben should have him on a platter here. Actually, that remains to be seen. Just depends how their wings are. But it turns out it was just as I said. He had him on a platter, just the same DRS pass that we've seen on that straight many times before. And Ben in P9 ahead of Unknown Pro. Still no development in this battle. Now Alex Hendricks is having a little bit of a help in the form of Ice One, and he doesn't have it anymore because Ice One is getting out of the way of the front runners. Very nicely there, pulling off to the side before the variant tail chicane. And we're just going to quickly have a look at penalties. So we got Who Am I, Rusty, Josh, Unknown Pro, and Ice One, all 3. Engine on 6, and Engine, remember, picked that up around lap 9. So he might be close to another one, you never know. We just see what Rapid is up to. Rapid is still holding back. He's still not for deploying the battery, and Alex Hendricks just manages every lap to keep more battery than Rapid. I think Rapid might have to get decisive and basically just send it one lap. He's trying to stay close to Alex Hendricks to this section, but it's not gonna be of any use. The dirty air is too much for that section. We've had a spin that is from Ice One, I believe. So that is right behind those guys. Ben picks up a 3-second time penalty. You don't see that every day. So now everyone between P7 and P10 now has a penalty. Alex Hendricks a little bit wayward on that exit. And Rapid once again close to him. But Alex Hendricks once again doing a very nice work of saving his battery. He's on 100% right now actually. And I think Rapid just needs to commit and just needs to use his battery and slipstream and the DRS all the way down the straight, but he's just not doing it. Obviously he doesn't have the information on other people's battery levels that I have. An Engine who is who is in the dirty air of the combined dirty air of both of them, obviously not having a chance. I think Aswan just had another problem somewhere. That was at the reversal sequence, the last part of the track. He's in the pits again, and he is out. I don't know why. Like the points were right there. He actually didn't have a wing, but alas. The points were right there. There were like 6 points on offer there if he just finished the race. So unfortunately he was not able to follow up a good drive last week with another one this time around. We got 13 runners left in the Grand Prix, and actually while all of that scramble was happening, Who Am I has been steadily gaining on Tom. Obviously he has a tire advantage, but it's only 1 lap. But he has managed to make up 2 seconds in the recent laps. Obviously Tom is not gonna be that worried. He has a 3-second time penalty. Who Am I has, and Tom doesn't. Unknown Pro picks up a 3-second time penalty. I believe that is his second. So he now joins Engine in the 6 seconds club. I'm gonna have a quick look through the field. It doesn't seem like there's any developments in that battle. So the thing we can look forward to the most right now is any developments that come from Barnes making his second stop, because that moment is approaching, and I think it's gonna spit him back out in P12, if not even P13. So he's gonna have to do some climbing when he gets onto the fresh hard or mediums, whichever one he has remaining. These guys are in the arrest range of each other, so they have all the minerals to give us a good battle, but they are just not doing that. Alex Hendricks is just very, very, very clinical with his battery, and Rapid is just not committing to this move on the straight. He just... It doesn't seem like he ever thinks that he's close enough, which is fair enough. But it does not make for the best spectacle, does it? And this time he was really not close enough. I don't think he could have done anything, even if he bent his battery all the way down. So Alex Hendricks, I think, is a low wing enjoyer. We kind of saw that in Spain, and there is that heralded second pit stop for Barnards, and also for Josh, and Rapid now picks up a 3-second time penalty. So now this becomes a matter of less priority, because now the move doesn't really gain him anything, and the engine behind him has even more penalties. So now that move doesn't really matter. He doesn't really have any justification to risk that move. Obviously, if Alex Hendricks gets a pen himself, that changes. We obviously saw quite a few pit stops. There were 3 different people pitting that lap. Obviously Barnard, Josh and Unknown Pro, all 2 stopping, which is fair enough. Unknown Pro had that early pit, of course, due to... Is Unknown Pro even in the session? What is going on? He just left again. Oh no, I'm being dense. I think he's being left. Yeah, that is Tom there. Yeah, that is Tom ahead of him. So it's fine. And now, actually, the one time I wasn't looking, Rapid finally committed, and Rapid makes the move into Variante Tamburello for the final podium position, and now there are still quite a few laps to go, 10 laps. It's not out of the question that Rapid can clear that penalty window and steal that podium position off of Alex Hendricks. We've had a spin. Who was that? Whoever it was, they got going very quickly. Welsh Benjamin has also made a move on Rusty. Rusty, I think, is another person remaining who I will not be surprised if he files into the pits. And obviously on that lap, 3 different people pitted, as I was saying, Barnard, Josh and Unknown Pro. Unknown Pro still ghosted because he's right behind Tom, and obviously he's at least for the moment he's gonna be faster. He's on fresh mediums. Tom is on quite warm 20 lap old hards. And Who Am I has clawed back another second on Tom. I don't think Tom cares though. I really don't think Tom cares. And Alex Hendricks has managed to... Where is this pointer going? Alex Hendricks has managed to get back past Rapid. Obviously, if I'm correct in saying that Alex Hendricks is on low-ish wings, I think Pro is in his car. I think he's just like ghosted perpetually because he is literally on the rear diffuser of Tom. I think that's why that is. Basically, the issue with Alex Hendricks having low-ish wings, and as I said, I'm not surprised that Rusty has made that call. He is also on a 2-stop. I will see how he will be able to climb back from that. The problem with lowish wings is that for Rapid it took full commitment, full DRS, full DRS open, and everything down the front straight. And for Alex Hendricks, who is on lower wings, all he needed to do was just stick somewhat close behind, and there's contact between these two that I was just talking about. Obviously Alex Hendricks did not expect Rapid to pull right alongside in the braking zone for the Rivasa corner. Hopefully no damage for either of these guys. And now that's brought Engine right onto their case. Engine is using everything, but I think Engine has too high downforce. to go for this. He thought about it, but ultimately he's just not gonna stick his wheel up there. Rapid makes this move. And Rapid back in P3 again. We'll see if Alex Hendricks will be able to re-challenge him once again with his low wings. But now Engine with his high wings, he's gonna go to the inside at the Toza corner. That's actually a masterful idea from Engine. The execution a little bit more scrappy, they had a little bit of a wheel bank, but either way, the Season 6 champion gets the move done, and Alex Hendricks, now it's gonna be just more difficult for him. Flying past one car with the RS on low wings, not that hard, but staying in the tier of two cars and flying past both of them, that much harder. And Tom is on the two-stop, so I was correct in that suspicion there. And now the race is on. 7 laps to go. Tom is just gonna be that much quicker. He's gonna have 13 laps of tire advantage, and who am I has that time penalty. I think Tom is gonna be able to comfortably come out ahead of Rapid, Engine and company. We're gonna see Rapid. You can see the orange dot there. Tom is at the end of the pit lane already. Rapid is barreling down the front straight, but he's not gonna be able to get close enough. Tom's tires are gonna be cold, but only for 3 quarters or so, and he's just gonna pull away. Actually, I'm now starting to have doubts. I mean, Tom is obviously fast. He has shown his pace time and time again, especially on this track and on this game. But he's gonna need to make up 17 seconds in 6.5 laps basically at this point. So we will see if he's up for that challenge. Alex Hendricks has managed to get past Engine. So Engine, despite making what I would describe as the move of the race at the Toza corner earlier on, he just lost out again. And that is the power of those low wings when you can actually handle them and take advantage. They are very, very powerful on this game. Tom has already made up a second, which he needs to. I will see if Alex Hendricks will be able to mount another attack on Rapid. See, we've seen him do these successful attacks on this straight already. He is using his battery. Rapid has way less battery. And Alex Hendricks is just like a rocket. He's like a rocket. He's gonna draw alongside Rapid at the end of the straight. Side by side through the Variante Tamburello. Rapid is not gonna give up on this fight. He's gonna take all the curb available. He's gonna stay alongside and he's gonna keep that position. But then again, once again, the low wings, Alex Hendricks not using as much battery, and Rapid is just struggling to regenerate and have enough to hold him off. They are side by side again, and Alex Hendricks makes the move in Toza. And now Rapid is re-challenging again. Now it's going to be side by side again into Piratella. Alex Hendricks losing that position again. So quite a few swaps between them, back and forth. Just what we want to see. Having that battle a little bit obscured by the tree line, but it's fine now. They're coming up to the front straight again. I'm just gonna have the Engine picks up another 3-second time penalty, but obviously Ben 20 seconds behind them. There were a lot of people who were closer to Engine, but they were all two stopping. Now Alex Hendricks is going to have another chance. He's on actually 100% battery compared to Rapid with only on 30-odd%. And Alex Hendricks is just going to fly like a rocket. It's just ridiculous overspeed from the Mercedes driver, who just gets past way before the braking zone. And I think Rapid might be getting frustrated at this point. I'm just going to take this opportunity to have a quick look at Pro, and he is indeed in his car, as you can see. Tongo Prof has made up 5 seconds thus far. He needs to make up another 12 in 4.5 laps for this win. He's giving it everything. Just to keep the suspense up, I'm not gonna check his warnings, even though it's very tempting. He's sending it all the way to the white lines, through the Acqua Minerale, through the Variante Alta chicane. That car is on rails. Looks like the setup is nicely balanced, and obviously fresher tires helping the case as well. Back to the battle for the podium position, where Rapid is obviously still struggling to He is still struggling to recharge enough battery to compete against Alex Henrik in that department, and Rapid just picks up a 3-second time penalty. And fortunately for him, Engine just picked up another one not long before, so they're not on equal footing, and they are still in the same positions that they're actually on track. But it's just giving Alex Hendricks that much more caution over them both. In the land of the two stoppers, no one has really been making headlines, but they are gonna converge, or at least Barnes and Chichi are gonna converge in the final stages of this race. Barnes is giving it everything, but obviously, as I said before, Medium's the C5 compound, the second softest compound available on the game. They are very, very prone to degradation. They grain easily and fall off quickly. And that might be what he's experiencing already. At the front, the gap is down to 11 seconds. Tom is flying, but he is running out of time. Anopro picks up another time penalty. Just gonna leave the penalties to the end of the race from now. I think we remember what tires everyone is on. Alex Hendricks again using battery. I don't think Rapid's gonna able to make any impact on that occasion. 3 laps to go now, or rather 2.5 laps to go, considering Who Am I is already in Piratella. Tongo Prof needs 7 seconds in 2.5 laps. Obviously he is Tom. Well, that remains to be seen. I've learned over the past 4 years to never count on Tom, but it is for sure looking not in his favor right now. Who Am I? Obviously, I think it was one of the first things I said in this race, that Who Am I was just very calm in the opening stages when he lost the RS to Tom. It just seemed like he was managing himself, managing the battery and the tires. And that is what he has done all race long since that sentence. 2 laps to go, Tom needs 3 seconds per lap. I don't think that is happening. For all the skill of Tom, I don't think that is happening. Obviously the tires of the Haas have fallen off. He was 6 tenths down on his time in the opening sector, but he is still able to hold Tom's charge at bay. Tom is just not gaining the time that he needs to. He's giving it everything, but Who Am I just has, apart from track position, he also has the battery to react to Tom. As I said, Barnett and Chichi are indeed converging, but Chichi has the advantage of track position and of battery. Obviously, this is the penultimate time they're gonna be going through this part of the track, and Barnett's just not able to make any impression whatsoever. At this point, I'm gonna be looking towards my driver of the day, and I think for as good as Who Am I and Tom have driven this race, I think my driver of the day is gonna go to Alex Hendricks. He already had very good comeback drives the past 2 weeks, but just due to other people being very impressive themselves, this decision has not swung his way yet. But it might today. He just has the final lap to navigate, and he has a very, very aggressive, very, very frustrated Rapid on his back right now. Alex Hendricks is defending Rapid, is gonna switch directions at the last moment to not hit him, but he's not gonna be able to make the move regardless. Alex Hendricks just really making those low wings work tonight. We're just gonna have a look at Chichi and Barnes. I'm just keeping an eye behind them, because the leaders are actually not far behind them. I think there's a little bit of a DRS game there. There's a little bit of DRS chicken between these two. It just remains to be seen if that was successful. Visa wanted the DRS, and I think he didn't get it. I think that the chicken didn't actually work. He does have more battery though, so that's on his side. Barnes is flashing, but Chichi He's not gonna be able to make the move. Alex Hendricks picks up a penalty. That's not gonna affect things. What am I? Who am I? Sorry, crosses the line, and it's gonna be the winner because Tom is not gonna be able to make up the ground. Who am I? Takes pole and takes the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix victory on his debut for Haas. And Alex Hendricks, despite the penalty, he's still gonna be my driver of the day. I don't have any rule that says drivers with penalties can get driver of the day. So that's what he gets, and he's also gonna make his back-to-back podiums. Rapid in P4, Engine in P5. Ben, also a shout out to him for a very, very nice drive. Barnes picks up a penalty, so that position, the battle with Chichi was not really mattering anyway. He already had a pen, and Chichi doesn't have any. Chichi! Chichi! I literally said you didn't have any pens! And he got a pen. Chichi did. Anyway, Barnes is gonna come home in P7 ahead of Chichi on track, but he's gonna lose that position. It's gonna be P8 for him. Yeah, congrats on the win, mate. Very, very nice debut there. As we see the midfield come across the line, I'm gonna go through the full order in the fourth race. It was a very interesting race. The Tifosi might not have seen one of their own win, but at least a Ferrari-powered car won, so that's got to count for something. A number of nice drives today. Some people had nice pace but just got ruined with by the fact that they two-stopped, such as Tom and Rusty, really. Tom, Panda, Ralphie, the only people without pens, so shout out to these guys. It's Who Am I who takes the win on his debut for Haas. Tongo Prof, his third P2 in a row. He's gonna basically build up his championship lead even more, but that is not the position that a two-time champion wants to finish in. Another P2 for Tom, back-to-back podium for Hendricks. Very, very nice drive. As I said, he's my driver of the day. Rapid in P4, followed by Engine, Welsh, Benjamin, Chichi, Barnard, Rusty, Josh, rounding out the top 10. The final remaining finishers were Unknown Pro, who had very nice pace, but he just, after that mistake, he really couldn't salvage any higher position. Panda, Ralphie picking up the final points, P12, P13, and Ice One and Nimra both pit and quits. And next week, I'm just going to take a quick look. Well, first of all, hopefully next week we are going to see Ian back. Obviously, there was an emergency situation. Thanks for tuning in during the race, by the way. And next week we are going to see you from Zandvoort, which is actually one of my favorite tracks. So that's going to be a fun one. And see you all there.